Hello everyone, welcome back to Brian's Mysteries and Adventures on Trail. I hope everyone is doing well. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there if you're watching this video today on Mother's Day. In today's video, we are going to be covering 4 separate disappearances of campers and hikers in the states of Washington, California, and Idaho. These cases go back all the way to 2018 and just recently, May of 2024. Real quick, before we get started, as I mentioned in my last video, I am trying to raise funds to be able to go out to the state of Washington to help the captain of WSI, who has asked me to help him command several search and rescue efforts, missions, and recovery missions. Prior to that, I hope to do a 2-week search and rescue training program in South Lake Tahoe. If any of you are interested in getting involved in search and rescue, I'll have all my info in the description. If any of you are able to donate, that would be amazing. If not, just watching, liking, sharing the video is amazing and helps out more than you know. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. It's free, and that also really helps the channel. Alright, let's get into the first case. The first case takes us to the state of Washington here in the United States. It is on the west coast of the United States. Here is a general map. We're going to be discussing the disappearance of Collin Zenk. Here is a picture of Collin, 23 years old, roughly 135 pounds, hazel eyes, and brown hair. Collin went missing on September 1st of 2023. That Friday night, last September, he is thought to have left the town of Everett, Washington at around 6 p.m. From there, he headed east towards the town of Granite Falls, Washington. I'm going to have various maps up to show you. Here's one of the first mysteries of this case. He left Everett at 6 p.m. It's only roughly a 30-minute drive to get to Granite Falls, and we know he stopped at this Shell gas station at around 9:30 p.m. that same night. So there's a huge 3-hour time gap that we really don't know where or what he was doing. This is a picture of Mountain Loop Road that he was traveling on. This is a picture of the Shell station that he stopped at. It is also unclear as to where his final destination was intended. Here is a map of the route coming from the gas station down Mountain Loop Highway. As you can see on the map, it loops down and then comes back up. That section on the right is usually closed in the winter and still is until the snow melts. There are tons of hiking and camping areas in this area. Collin was known to carry a hammock with him. It's possible that he was going there for a hike, maybe to do an overnight camping. We don't know. What we do know is the following day, Saturday, September 2nd, 2023, his Jeep was found crashed into a tree and overturned. This is a picture of his Jeep. It was between mile marker 32 and 34 on the Mountain Loop Highway in the section that is now closed for winter. All his belongings were found inside. Next to the Jeep, there was a handprint and footprint located, presumably being him getting out of the vehicle. Sadly, this case got barely any media coverage. There was a small search, but Collin remains missing to this day. This is the first case that my captain out in Washington, that captains WSI, is going out to start looking for him. Once the snow has fully melted on that part of the Mountain Loop Highway and it is reopened, if you have any information regarding this disappearance, I'll have the contact information in the description, as well as the Facebook group that has been following his disappearance. The next case takes us to the Cascade Mountains in Washington State. We're going to be talking about the disappearance of Sergey Cherepov, who was 57 years old when he disappeared on September 14th of 2017. Sergey was here on business, and he decided to go out and hike towards Goldmyer Falls and the Goldmyer Hot Springs with 2 of his business associates. This is a picture of the Goldmyer Hot Springs. They parked their car at the Goldmyer Hot Springs trailhead. This is a map of the terrain, the general area, just to show you where the trailhead is in relation to the actual hot springs. From statements given by his business associates, we know that the day prior, Sergey had fallen and injured himself. He had a band-aid on his head. At this point during their trip, he was only wearing a short-sleeve t-shirt and boat shorts. He didn't have any overnight gear or extra food or water. These are all pictures of the trail that they were hiking on in the actual area, different parts of the terrain. It is thought that on that day, September 14th, 2017, Sergey told his friends that he wasn't feeling well and that he was going to head back towards the caretaker's hut, which I'm going to have a picture of coming up right here. His plan was to take a short rest there, then on to the trailhead parking lot to his vehicle. We know at this time that neither of these things happened. It is thought that sometime on his hike back to the hut, he took a wrong turn going left instead of right. We know this because he was captured on a trail cam. This is the last picture of him that was captured by that trail camera. As you can see, he's only wearing that purple t-shirt. He doesn't have a backpack or any extra gear. At that time, in 2017, he would have had to have crossed this old wooden bridge that has since been washed out by storms and flooding. These are pictures of the trail and area which is assumed that he had gone on that day after he had made the wrong turn. The Goldmyer Hot Springs are located in the Mount Baker-Snoqualmie National Forest. Here is a general map of the area and the hiking routes. The main trails run along the Snoqualmie River. A massive search was launched for Mr. Cherepov. Thousands of man-hours went into this search. It is a very dense and rugged area. The Kings County Search and Rescue, with 29 dogs, over 100 volunteers, they started at the Middle Fork, Snoqualmie area, and they worked their way up towards the hot springs. This is a picture of one of the actual searches. They did find some witnesses that were in the area that Mr. Cherepov had taken that trail that was the wrong trail. They said that Sergey looked okay. He was wearing the purple short and boat shorts. They had no cause for alarm, so they kept on hiking. As you can see by this map, this national forest is absolutely huge. So the Kings County Sheriff and Kings County Search and Rescue had a huge task on their hands. They spent weeks and weeks searching for Mr. Cherepov. This is another picture of the trail heading into one of the denser parts of the forest. Sadly, despite all their efforts, not one clue, not one piece of evidence was ever found, and Sergey remains missing to this day. His son, who has the same name, Sergey Cherepov, and his wife traveled from Russia to visit Mount Baker-Snoqualmie National Forest and look for his father. They met up with a translator, various news outlets. They hiked the full trail from where his car was parked all the way to the Goldmyer Hot Springs, then back to the caretaker's cabin, then also down the trail that it is thought Sergey was thought to have gotten lost on. His son is quoted in saying he has hope and he had recently dreamt that his father was in Seattle working as a driver. He just wishes he had some answers. Here's another picture of one of the various searches that went out looking for Sergey. Sergey Cherepov remains missing to this day. Although foul play is not suspected, authorities are looking for any information. I'll have that in the description to please contact the Kings County Sheriff's Office. Sergey is roughly 5'10", usually wears glasses. He would be 64 years old if he is still alive today. The main theory is that he either got lost on this trail, possibly suffered a fall, or later died from exposure. Either way, the family wants closure and wants to bring Sergey home. This next case takes us to Mount Whitney, California. On May 7th of this year, 2024, the Inyo County Search and Rescue got an emergency call stating that 2 hikers of their group had not been seen for several hours. They were last seen hiking up Mount Whitney. Mount Whitney is 14,505 feet above sea level. It is the highest mountain in the continental United States. Every year, thousands of people attempt to summit Mount Whitney. Roughly half of them actually make it, and sadly, roughly 2 people die each year trying to achieve the summit. This year, a young couple, a man by the name of Andrew Niziel, who is 28, a resident of South Lake Tahoe, and Patty Bolan, who is 29, they were on a hiking adventure all across the state of California. They had been hiking up in the Mount Shasta area, but due to high winds, they turned around and headed back towards Mount Whitney. They pitched their camp at Upper Boy Scout Lake, pictured there to the east of Mount Whitney. Their plan was to descend to an area called the Notch. After reaching this point, they were planning on snowboarding back to their camp, which was at Upper Boy Scout Lake. The others in their hiking group contacted the Inyo County Search and Rescue roughly 6 hours after the couple had last been seen. Search and rescue teams immediately brought in ground teams. Here are pictures of the actual search. There are several trails that go up Mount Whitney. Here's a picture of the helicopter during that search. As you can see, it's very rugged, it's very steep. Depending on the time of year and the weather, it can be a very dangerous hike. The search continued over the next 4 days. However, they found nothing. That was until the 5th day, when one of the search and rescue teams found 2 bodies at roughly 13,200 feet. The search teams found them on the north face of Mount Whitney, and the members involved in that search said that they looked like they had suffered a fall. They were then flown to the nearby town of Lone Pine. That was until Thursday morning, when detectives from the Tulare County Sheriff's Office went there to pick them up because it was now their jurisdiction and they were having their medical examiner's office do the autopsy. At this time, no further information on what happened is available. It is just absolutely so tragic. When I read some of the posts that they had been posting on their social media, one of them said, "If I could go back in time and show a 12-year-old me what my life is now, I'd make myself so proud. This is the kind of living I've dreamed about for 15 years. I've finally surrounded myself with people to share these type of experiences with, and I couldn't be more thankful." Andrew posted that a couple days before he died. These people looked so happy and so nice. The only comfort that I can possibly muster is the fact that they were doing what they love and they were together. I wanted to include this in the video because it is the time where many people are going to be attempting to summit Mount Whitney. There is a permit system in place to summit Mount Whitney. I'll have more information in the description. Here's some info that the Inyo County Search and Rescue released. If you are planning on attempting to summit Mount Whitney, please use crampons and ice axe. If possible, on your first attempt, go with people that have already summited the mountain. Get familiar with the various trails summiting the mountain, the various camp spots. Practice prior to this on smaller mountains, maybe in the 12 to 13,000 foot range. If possible, carry a SATCOM device that offers up-to-the-minute weather reports, because the weather on these mountains can change on a dime. I'm in no way trying to fearmonger or tell you what to do, just offering some safety tips and advice. In this tragedy with Andrew and Patty, I don't know what happened, but based on the facts, I think it was just a quick slip and fall. They were both very knowledgeable. They both had a lot of experience on high mountains. I think one of the factors may have been that they were carrying snowboards that might have made their hike more difficult. However, they were familiar with this. They were carrying snowboards throughout many of their hikes in the state of California. We just don't know, and my thoughts and prayers go out to their families. I'm so sorry for your loss. The final case that we are going to be talking about takes us up to the remote mountains of Utah, more specifically the Hansel Mountains, southeast of the town of Snowville. This past April of 2024, a man that was out looking for shed deer antlers in the Hansel Mountains, southeast of the town of Snowville, on April 27th, when he came across what he believed to be skeletal remains. He immediately contacted the Box Elder County Sheriff's Office. At that point, the Box Elder County deputies and search and rescue teams responded. This is a picture of them actually going out to search. They did in fact find remains, and they were taken to the Utah office of the medical examiner. At this point, they had absolutely no idea who this person was. After the medical examiner's office was able to use dental records, they determined that it was a missing person, a man by the name of Matthew J Broncho, who had gone missing on March 24th of 2019. Matthew was 35 years old. At the time of his disappearance, he was living in Fort Hall, Idaho. The Fort Hall Police Department had been notified of his disappearance when his pickup truck had been discovered on the I-84 Exit 7 ramp in Snowville. At that time, the police initiated a search when they found his dog wandering a few miles west of Snowville on March 27th of 2019. This is his dog. Matthew's wallet and cell phone were both found inside the truck. Despite multiple agencies and volunteers joining the initial search, Matthew was never found. They had no idea why he would be in the Snowville area. His family didn't know that he had any connections to that area and didn't understand why he would be there. Matthew was very well known on the reservation which he was living on. He participated in relay and rodeo events. He had once run for land use commissioner in the tribe's general election the year before he went missing. Matthew was last thought to be seen at his residence on the Fort Hall Reservation of the Shoshone-Bannock tribes in late winter. The exact date is unknown. His family began to become worried. They tracked his cell phone using GPS. That is how they traced to the whereabouts of his dark gray Toyota Tacoma parked on the side of I-84. Despite him being found and this bringing some closure to the family, there are still a lot of answers his family and friends want to be known. Why was Matthew there? He had no plans of any long-term trips. He was not the type of man to just up and leave without telling anyone. He never would have left his beloved dog alone. Was he there to meet someone? Did something happen on the road? How did he end up all the way into the mountains where his remains were eventually found? The man that was out looking for the shed deer antlers that found him has asked to remain anonymous. The police don't believe he was involved in any way. There have been many fundraisers, volunteers, people still going out trying to find answers. This is an ongoing investigation between the Fort Hall Police Department and the Box Elder County Sheriff's Department. If you have any information that you think is relevant or were in that area or knew Matthew and might have any information that could help solve this case, I'll have that information in the description of the authorities you can call. You can also leave tips anonymously. My thoughts and prayers go out to his family, his loved ones. My thoughts and prayers go out to all the family and loved ones of everyone in this video. Collin Zenk, Sergey Cherepov, Andrew Niziol, Patty Bolan, and Matthew J Broncho. My thoughts and prayers also go out to all the authorities and search and rescue team members who are working so hard to bring these missing loved ones home and to help solve these cases. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for your support, all your comments, your feedback. Special thank you to co.ag for providing the background music. Hopefully I'll see you all in the next one. Take care. Hey everyone, thanks for sticking with me to the end. As always, I appreciate any feedback you have. My email is in the description, as well as other contact information. All my sources, photo credits are also in the description if you'd like to do further reading. For case suggestions or video suggestions, please email me. If you have stories of your own that you experienced while out in the wilderness, please let me know. I'll definitely cover them on the channel if you'd like me to. Thank you again for all your wonderful support. See you next time.